I got a daisy feeling. I got a daisy feeling. Yeah.
Hello everybody, I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by WEIN. And we are looking at how to remove negative thoughts from Sadhguru Jagadish Vasudev Answers. Oops, I said that weird. Well, we're gonna keep that. This is from Sadhguru's YouTube channel. Again, let me try to say the title, How to Remove Negative Thoughts, ? Sadhguru Jagadish Vasudev Answers. Y'all, thanks so much for joining us. Please do me a big favor, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications. Vote this up, let YouTube know you enjoy what you're watching, if you are. Also subscribe to Sadhguru, link in the description below. You know what to do. Here we go.
He's got some answers for us.
There are no subtractions and divisions in our mind. There is only addition and multiplication. I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thoughts. All the best, it's not going to work. It's just that you need to pay little attention as to how it functions. You will see there is a distinction between what is you and what you have gathered.
Music in the background is making me relax.
Well, see the way the question is asked and also the way normally it's addressed is, people think there is something called as negative thought and positive thought. They want to remove the negative thoughts and have only positive thoughts. For such people, I would ask them to just experiment for 10-15 seconds. Let them forcefully remove one thought from their mind. For example, next 10 seconds, just don't think of a monkey. Try not to think of a monkey for next 10 seconds. You will see you will be full of monkeys. So what I'm saying is, this is the nature of your mind.
It's true.
Because
that's very true.
in this mind, all the three pedals are throttle. There is no brake, there is no clutch. Whatever you touch, it will only go faster. In this kind of mind, people have been taught from moral teachers and religious teachers, do not think about bad things. Well, since then it's been a full-time job.
Yeah.
So there is no way you can handle the mind like this. This doesn't need any great enlightenment.
So then focus on positive thoughts, right?
If you spend 2 minutes with your eyes closed, you will realize you cannot do anything forcefully with this mind. So, I want to remove negative thoughts. Do not ever go in this direction because what you want to remove will become your quality. Always you will be on it.
I think that some of us are subject to, or being a victim of our own negative thoughts more than others. I think some of us can get hyper-focused on it. Like I myself, I can get very obsessed with a negative thought about myself or something I'm experiencing. I was in therapy last year. One of the things that she had told me was, if you're dealing with something negative in your mind, one trick you can try to do is dunk your face in ice water, take a cold shower. Kind of shock to your system can help. And a therapist I spoke to years ago, she had told me, try being present, being active. Like if you're driving, call out the trees and the color of the trees and the shape of it, and like whatever you're driving by, just say it out loud and focus on that, and you're like redirecting your energy and your focus in a way to kind of just do away with that negative thought that was occupying your mind, living rent-free for that moment.
The more interested you are in a subject, you're more willing to learn about it. That wasn't proper English, but whatever. And the brain is something that's super fascinating to me. So I've read a lot of books about how the brain functions, how to kind of life hack your own brain into working the way that you want it to, rather than it working against you. And meditation helps a lot with that because you understand the way that your brain forms thought processes, and you can come up with routes to get around the areas that you don't necessarily want to. Like how he was saying, oh, try not to think about monkeys. And then he said, you'll be filled with monkeys if you do that. Instead, if you're like, okay, don't think about monkeys, I'm gonna think about elephants instead. You know, you're not thinking about monkeys, you're thinking about elephants at that point. So it's kind of like you are in charge of steering your brain in whatever direction you want it to. You just need to learn how to do that, which is important.
Without understanding the fundamental mechanism of this mind, because our mind, human mind, is the most sophisticated computer on the planet. Even all the supercomputers have come out of this. When this is the case, is it not important that we understand the mechanics of how it functions? One simplistic aspect of how it functions is, there are no subtractions and divisions in our mind. There is only addition and multiplication. If you try to do something with it, it will say one more. If you try hard, it will multiply into many more. In this mind, you don't try to identify what is positive, what is negative and try to remove it. First of all, one needs to understand this mind of yours, this body of yours is supposed to serve you. The life that you are is important. Body and mind are vehicles that must serve us. If you sit in a vehicle, it must go where you want to go. If it goes to its own destination, what is the point of such a vehicle? It's just a nuisance. Right now, most human beings are unfortunately experiencing this fantastic possibility of human mind as a nuisance, as a troublesome thing. Well, this is the most beautiful thing you have. It's just that you need to pay little attention as to how it functions. One simple thing is this. First and foremost process is, that's why we put out this process called Isha Kriya. This is to distance yourself from your physiological and psychological process. There is something called as you which exists. This is not a composite of all your thoughts and emotions and physiological processes. Beyond that, there is you. If you close your eyes, even if you cannot see anything, you're still there. It is through the window of your eyes that you're looking out, but if you close your eyes, it doesn't mean that you don't exist, you still exist. So beyond your thought, you still exist, beyond your emotion, you still exist. So that you, the life that you are, this has to come into your experience. Why is it that you're not allowing that to come into your experience, which is the most significant aspect of who you are? Who you are right now, the most significant aspect is, you and me are alive right now, this is it. What I'm thinking, what you're thinking is not the important thing. We are alive right now, that is the important thing. So, it is important that you focus on this fundamental sense of aliveness within you, and then you will see there is a natural distance between you and your thought process. Once there is a distance between your psychological process and your physiological process, this is the end of suffering. Because there are only two kinds of suffering that human beings go through, physical suffering and mental suffering. Once you create a little space between you and your mind, between you and your body, this is the end of suffering. This is something every human being has to experience and know, otherwise thinking I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thoughts, all the best, it's not going to work 100%, it's not going to work because nobody can remove it, they can avoid it for some time. So when negative thoughts come, you say Ram Ram, Shiva Shiva, whatever you want, but this is just avoiding, it's not gone. The moment you stop that, it will pop back with great force, otherwise it'll come back in your dreams.
Yeah. This is actually really interesting what he's talking about. The thing that's rather difficult is the fact that, to put it mildly, we are descendants of cowards. I mean, it depends if you believe in evolution or not, but I believe in evolution, and our ancestors survived by hiding, by running, going up into the trees if necessary. You ever had that feeling of like, I feel like something's there watching me, looking at me, but it was just like a leaf off of a tree or something? The thing is, our ancestors did the same thing, and they would run. And it was better to assume that was a saber-toothed tiger right there, rather than not a saber-toothed tiger and you get eaten. And so then you'd run and you'd hide. And the thing is, that's how we survive for so long. Fear is very much baked into our personalities, and now we are at a time that is more comfortable, more safe. We are privileged that we can remove fear from ourselves and put a distance between us and fear, because at one point we really depended on that. And I think that's why it's so easy to go to the negative, go to the fear, because it is what helps us to survive, to avoid those mistakes, you know, or whatever could harm us.
I think it's important to still be in touch with it, so that if you are ever in a situation where like you do need to fight or flight activate, you know? You need to have a healthy relationship with it so that you know what it feels like and when it's coming on and how to not let it consume your everything. With really any emotion, you're supposed to kind of name it, welcome it, and then leave space for the counteractive emotion. People have a lot of forms of expression, whether it's like sitting, talking, meditating, sports, art, all this stuff. It's working with their brain in a way that they can understand the thought patterns, and then if something bad does come up, they can identify it very quickly and then say, okay, I don't want to be having this, because you're in control, really. I don't want to be having this bad thought, so what can I do or say to myself to redirect? But I mean, we've all fallen victim to
negative thoughts,
just spiraling, and you're like, I can't get out of bed.
Otherwise it'll come back in your dreams. So it's very important. First of all, you need to understand, your anger, your resentment, your fear, your anxieties, the negativity that you generate, generally resentment, anger, it is always directed towards somebody. But we need to understand this is poisons that we are drinking and expecting somebody else to die. Fortunately, life doesn't work like that. If I drink poison, I die. If I drink poison, you don't die. So, we need to understand this. When I say poison, today you can have yourself chemically analyzed. Right now, what is your blood work, what it says? 5 minutes of intense anger, check your blood work and see, there will be lots of negative elements in it. Literally, you're poisoning yourself. So, do you want to poison yourself? Definitely not. Now, the very question is coming from certain helplessness, what shall I do? Don't do anything. Just sit back and just concern yourself with something which is a life process. Maybe your heartbeat, maybe your breath, maybe just a sensation of being alive. Depending upon how sensitive or how perceptive you are, accordingly, find something. It could be a sensation in the body, it could be breath, it could be heartbeat, it could be anything, something which indicates life to you. Just pay attention to that for some time. Slowly you will see there is a distinction between what is you and what you have gathered, which includes both your physiological and psychological possibility or mess, whatever you're made out of.
I like that.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't generally enjoy these kinds of videos. I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm like a very skeptical individual, and I question things so hard because I don't like to be manipulated.
It would be cool if you tried to do, okay, I'm gonna meditate every day for a month for just 10-15 minutes a day, and then document your process and see how your thought process changed. That would be really interesting.
Oh, I'm sure it would have positive effects. It's just that videos like this in general, I tend to be wary of. And when someone sends something like this to me, I'm always like, okay, what's the scam? What's the angle? What are you trying to get out of me? There was an app that he advertised here, and I'm like, what's the angle there? But I mean, everyone's got to have some kind of an angle, right? I just want you to be transparent about it. There was this comedian I collaborated with on YouTube a while ago, and it was a live stream, and someone super chatted him, and he goes, thank you for making me rich, I appreciate it. He just put it out there like that, and I was like, whoa, that is really transparent. I mean, it's funny, it's honest, it's real, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think nowadays we're so used to so many people hiding their true intentions that when people are upfront with it, we're like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Clearly, there must be an even deeper angle that we can't see if you're so willing to be transparent about this.
Yeah, no, but I did appreciate this, and I think that a lot of people could benefit from something like this, because for me, I can really get wound up inside my negative thoughts. And that's been a thing of mine ever since I was high school. I can remember ever since 14 years old, 15 years old, it's been kind of this poison that I drink, the way he described it, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And I've had to combat that a lot, and I've had to go to therapy for it. I still deal with it, even to this day. I think I'm better about it now because I find ways to distract myself and just deal. My first step is always accepting, kind of like the way you were talking about. I try to just accept as quickly as possible and then adapt. Accept and adapt as quickly as I can. And sometimes when it comes to something maybe in my personality that I'm afraid of, I go, you know what? Well, this is who I am, this is a flaw of mine, and I'm just gonna own it. There are some things you can change, and some things that you just sort of have to live with and accept about yourself instead of getting mad about it.
Well, it's this whole thing too also is that we tend to label things as good or bad because we have past experiences where the flaw that you're referring to could be where you brought that side of you out and it wasn't received well by the company that was around you. So for the rest of your life, you've told yourself that oh, this is a bad thing that I need to get rid of. It's not. There's no such thing as good or bad. We are the ones that put the
labels.
Ideas. It's nice because you retrain your brain into thinking every part of you is okay. It's okay for it to be there. And then when you sit down with yourself and you just are patient and soft with yourself, you're able to relabel the things that you look. I'm sorry, I could go on about this subject for the rest of my life. There was this whole thing that's the people that you dislike for no reason. You know those people where you're something about it I just hate. They say that usually a big reason why you hate those people is because they're projecting parts of themselves that you pushed down for so long that you felt weren't.
Yeah, something about yourself that you don't like.
Yeah, so it's really reflective of yourself. So just, be patient with yourself, and there's nothing wrong with.
And some people are just annoying.
That, some people really just should push away their flaws, but for the most part, just be gentle and love yourself.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I'm not going to go into it. This video's getting long anyway, so I'm going to end it here. This is just like anecdotes I'd love to get into. You guys, thanks so much for hanging with us. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
Julia WEIN.
Peace out.